Right, come in and sit down. This is a petrol station. Oh, of course. My apologies. Sorry, it's my first day.
Oh, that's okay. We were all new once.
I can't imagine you were ever new at anything, so you seem to have this life situation all figured out. My goodness, you're so professional.
Okay. Anyway, I would like 20 quid of petrol out of pump number 4, please.
How would Sir like that cooked?
Again, this is a petrol station?
Right, yes. Sorry, yes, petrol station.
You know, where people fill up their cars with petroleum, or, as they say in the Americas, gasoline.
My goodness, Sir is so well travelled. Next you'll be telling me you can speak Danish or something.
No Danish. Just want to fill up the old car, so if you could.
Yes, of course. What size of car do you have then, sir?
Size?
Is that not a thing?
Well, it's a hatchback, but I don't think that affects how much petrol I put into it, or indeed how I put petrol in it. Could you just open up pump number 4, please? It would be amazing.
What are we inflating? Is it a dinghy? I love a good dinghy.
No, a petrol pump. Look, sorry, is there a manager or someone I could speak to? I am in rather a hurry.
I'm sorry. Like I said, it's my first day.
No, I understand, I'm sympathetic, but this process is usually fairly simple.
One must never oversimplify the important work of keeping the customer happy. Would you like some Reilly spearmint gum?
No, I would like to be able to drive to a different petrol station, but sadly I don't have enough petrol, and so I must fill up here. Turn on pump number 4, or I'm going to peel off all your skin and turn you into a flesh sack to carry my watermelons to market.
Sir sells watermelons?
I have been known to.
And you also make bags out of human skin?
I have also been known to do that, too.
Right, yes. Well, let me just open pump number 4 then. I think it's this button.
No, that is the frozen beverage dispenser. If the next button you push isn't for pump number 4, I am going to tear your ears off and turn them into socks.
Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, no, I think I've got it now.
Thank you.
Sir, before you go, I've been asked to say, would you like this complimentary game of jacks?
No, thank you. I just wanted the petrol.
What about this monogrammed bath mat?
It says Jeff on it, and my name is Peterborough Giddings.
What about this luminous pointy hat?
Look, I just want the petrol, thanks.
Not so fast, Peterborough Giddings.
Wait, why are you coming at me with those handcuffs?
You're under arrest.
What are you talking about?
I must caution you that anything you say from now on may be written down, attached to a squirrel, and thrown over a wall to freedom.
What is going on?
Yeah, no, that wasn't right, was it? Sorry, like I said, it's my first day, but you are still under arrest.
Right, I'm leaving.
You can't. I've locked those doors. Hands in front of your back, please. Sorry, behind your front. Back. Sorry, hands behind your back, please.
I will do no such thing.
Oh, go on, please play along. It's my first day.
May I ask for identification?
Sure, look here.
That's a school yearbook.
Right, and that's me right there.
What's that caption say?
It says it's his first day.
I need identification that you're with the police.
Oh, right, yeah, sorry. Here's my badge.
That's a library pass.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, you're right there. How about this? This is my badge.
That's a basket of shrimp.
Oh, yeah, sorry, sir, that was my lunch. Here's my badge.
Wow. You're really a police officer?
Oh, yes, I am, yeah. And today's my first day, if I hadn't mentioned it already.
So, what are the charges?
What do you think I did wrong? Well, you turned Mrs. Pendergrant the tobacconist into a skin hat.
Oh, she overcharged me for rolling papers and mispronounced my name as Colin, when I've said before it's Peterborough.
As heinous as that must have been, and as distraught as you must have been, you can't just murder people, remove their flesh, and turn them into fashion accessories.
No, I can't.
That's not a thing you can do nowadays. Nope, sorry, it's not. You're under arrest, mate.
It's a fair cop.
That was a scene from Norman Thigh Pustule's Petroleum Cop, a new 4-part series coming to the BBC this spring. It stars Dutch actor Lep Hep Wepper Hepper reprising his role as Bernie Terrapin, the police detective that brings men in leather jackets to justice, and Pearlie Mincher in the role of Mrs. Quim Goblin, his long-suffering landlady and part-time lover.
to the sweet sounds of the After Movie Diner with your host, John Cross. Support us at patreon.com/After Movie Diner. Or I'll punch you in the teats. Rate and review us on iTunes, Earthling.
I only, from now on, want to eat in diners which have photographs of Treat Williams on the wall. Put the American Ken Dodler.
Definitely don't want to eat anywhere that doesn't have a picture of the American Ken Dodd on it.
Could you
Sorry,
scoot
mate.
up a bit?
Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate.
Talk at this point.
Sorry,
and
mate.
you're hogging both menus.
There's just one underneath. You can pick the menu up.
Yeah. Well, you took the one on top.
You look like
completely ignore it.
You look like you've eaten this diner all the time.
Yeah. Oh, New York. Oh my God! Look at this.
Home to New York's biggest sandwich, served on thick sliced rye bread with corned beef, pastrami, roast beef,
Home
fresh
to
turkey,
New
salami,
York's
sliced
biggest
tomato,
sandwich.
lettuce, coleslaw, Russian dressing. Take the challenge, $45. No, I will not.
No, I will not be taking the monster challenge. Although I feel.
Quite fancy a chili cheese hot dog
Oh my goodness.
wrapped in pastrami.
Your vileness never ceases to amaze me.
That is not fair.
What's not fair?
I really do quite fancy a chili cheese hot dog.
All right, don't shout too loudly, otherwise everyone will want one. Then they'll sell out.
Is that a thing?
The
Is it
thing now.
possible? Corned beef tongue. Get a tongue sandwich. Seriously?
I had a tongue sandwich last night, if you know what I mean. Hello, and welcome to
Welcome to
Movie
Tongue
Diner.
Sandwich Corner.
Hello, welcome to the After Movie Diner under the watchful gaze of Treat Williams, Dr. John.
Very young Tree Williams, who I'm going to go ahead and guess was not that young when he ate it, but that was like the picture that he gave.
That's the picture.
So
he
we
showed.
just, and I can imagine the person who like took the picture,
Yeah.
like had to stop their eyebrow from raising.
From raising
You know what I
just
mean?
slightly.
They don't make a face.
He was like the last time anyone requested a headshot. I was 23.
Well, those were the salad days of Tree Williams.
I can imagine the shot. Like they're looking at the picture,
Right.
And he is sat behind the picture because they're stood above him, right?
Yeah.
And they lower the picture to be befronted with the
ravaged-
the over
Yeah, the
the
ravaged
overweight,
gaze
saggy,
Treat Williams.
ravaged, late middle-aged Treat Williams. And he's like looking at them as if to be like, you see, I've still got it.
Still got it.
No,
No, you don't, Treat.
Treat.
I'm sorry, mate.
Treat, get out.
Get out.
But not after you've paid for the monster sandwich.
I've
That's
just remembered
$45.
something. I've just remembered something. You're going to like this.
Oh yeah, go ahead then.
You owe me for dinner.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
So if I have the chili cheese hot dog,
yeah,
which is $6.50,
yeah.
you've done quite well out of the deal.
I have. Yeah.
So I think I'm going to do that.
Unless we come here again and you have it again and you demand that I buy it again in order
Yeah, but
to
you
make
just
up.
you,
the
no, but you
$13.
just turned me down.
I wouldn't turn you down.
Well, you'd have every right to turn me down. Like it wasn't about
Oh, listen, mate.
Money,
I
was it?
always have every right to turn you down.
That's
Like
true.
you could go, we go to the movies tonight, and I could be like, I'm turning you down.
which you do sometimes.
Or
Oh, Deli Wellington, corned beef and pastrami
if
blended
through-
with potato in a puff pastry. What is that? I must have that.
What is that?
Deli Wellington, corned beef and pastrami blended with potato in a puff pastry.
Where are you looking?
Sarge's Noshes.
Yeah, I think I need that as well.
I kind of need the Deli Wellington.
Or the Welly Dallington, depending on which
Well,
way you
if we
put it.
asked for that, they would probably know what we were talking about.
Oh, except they have a homemade chicken pot pie. I could equally do that.
That does sound pretty good.
I'm going to do the chicken pot pie.
I'm going for the Deli Wellington.
You do the Welly Dallington.
I'm going to have to try the Deli
do
Wellington.
the Welly Dallington.
Even
and,
though I was very interested in the hot dog, I'm going to have to do the Deli Wellington.
Deli Wellington.
Have to be.
Well, there we go. And listen, if anyone screams Deli Wellington, it's you, mate.
I think I'll ask for another fork.
Listen, mate, you don't come to Sarge's and expect a clean fork.
That's true. You wouldn't give Treat Williams a clean fork. Oh, I guess that's not helpful, is it?
No, it's only helpful if it's pointed towards you because for some reason the timbre of your voice is not picked up.
Is this why we haven't received emails about like taking me off the air forcibly because they can't actually hear what I'm saying, and therefore
it's more that nobody.
Do you get these emails and you just don't pass them on to me?
No, it's more that nobody listens.
But people do listen, though, right?
Some people listen.
But out of those people,
we actually got a very nice email this week.
oh, we did.
Yeah.
Hey,
How are you?
good. Could I get the Deli Wellington?
Sure.
And a cup of English breakfast tea with milk.
With milk?
Thank you.
Chicken pot pie for me,
Sure.
please. All right. Yep. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, man.
So anyway, hello. Welcome to the After Movie Diner.
Oh yeah, the nice email.
We got.
Sorry, have I jumped ahead there?
A gentleman wrote to us from Germany.
Really?
Asking if it was associated with Dr. Action originally.
Oh, that's why. Right. Sorry.
Asking if I had a video copy of Action USA, which was a movie that we covered on Dr. Action some years ago, but had subsequently been removed from YouTube. It's a particularly rare and weird movie. So I looked up my old hard drives, found said movie, sent it to him. He was so grateful that he bought one of my miscellaneous plumbing fixture albums.
Oh, that was nice.
To say thank you and support it. And in the email in which he said, I looked around in a way...
Please fire Jim.
No, I looked around for a way to support you, and I found the miscellaneous plumbing fixtures album, so I bought an album. He said,
it seems like such a good idea. Like if people wanted... Like, let's say, just for the sake of argument.
For argument's
sake, let's
or
say
for the sake of
people
argument.
had been downloading...
Wait, is it the sake of argument or for argument's sake?
For argument's sake. Let's say people have been downloading the podcast for free for years.
For years.
And they've had how many countless hours of, entertainment?
Moderate.
Like, that's the closest word that could be used to describe
Moderate annoyance. I mean, I would imagine that a lot of people listen to it masochistically.
And let's say... in all that time, they've contributed precisely bugger all to your costs.
Zero. Zip.
Despite the fact that
Zilch.
it costs you quite a lot of money to run the website and
For the
diary.
German, 9.
No, that's just no.
12.
You need to learn what the German for none or zero is.
9.
It's... Are you denying that you need to learn now?
Yeah.
I guess you could, thank you very much. I guess you could just keep saying 9 to me.
9.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Anyway, that's fine. You know what? All I was trying to do was get people to buy
to contribute
your album.
Former Glory, now out.
I mean, it doesn't have to be that. It could be
you don't even have to buy it, mate. You just listen to it on Spotify. And by the way, we're now on Spotify.
Yes.
The After Movie Diner is now on Spotify.
This is why I can never host a podcast.
Right.
The way you seamlessly weave together, you know what I mean? Like the things that need to be done.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's awe-inspiring.
But you know what else someone could do?
What's that?
Because it's all very well. People are like, oh, you want to support the After Movie Diner?
I mean, they don't.
No,
that much
they
is
don't.
abundantly
That's
clear.
abundantly clear.
They
Some
don't
people do
care.
that, mate.
We could keep going, or we could stop. They
Some
don't
people do
really
that.
give a monkeys. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
They could not give a monkeys.
Literally no need to give me that with a chicken pot pie. Literally no need to give me.
On the other hand, they took one look at you and that cat, but they went, "This is a man who needs free pickles."
I hate pickles. I hate it.
I don't mind
It's
pickles,
no,
actually.
I don't
I've come round to the
like
pickle.
the smell, I don't like the look of it, and I don't like the taste. Anyway, what I was going to say is that, sure, one can go ahead and purchase a miscellaneous plumbing fixtures album to support the After Movie Diner. But you know another way?
What is another way?
Could go ahead
Talk
and
to me
support
about
the
another
After
way.
Movie Diner.
How could they do that?
They could go to Amazon right now or Amazon.co.uk.
Either one, mate.
And search J.E.A. Wallace. And pick up your book of Tut poetry.
Actually, when people search J.A., I mean, they should just go to the link on your website. For some reason, when they search J.A. Wallace, I don't come up.
The
but if you search
huge
Wallace
banner.
and hurtling, then I'll come up.
Are you hurtling towards God knows what?
Are you, mate?
Are you?
It's a fucking question.
It's a great book.
That we should all
It's
answer.
a great book. And while the proceeds will go to Jim and not me, it is also a way to support the After Movie Diner.
because I need emotion. It's emotional
support
of the After Movie
So
Diner.
despite me doing all the editing and all the uploading,
I do literally nothing.
He does literally nothing except turn up, and apparently tonight I'm buying him dinner, which is totally fine. But despite all that, I still think people should buy your book, mate, because it's a cracking read. It's a cracking read, and despite all evidence to the contrary on the After Movie Diner, you are actually a really good writer.
Oh, thanks, man.
That's such a backwards compliment.
No, I know. I don't mind because the thing is, there's a compliment in there.
There's a compliment
and
in
that
there.
is rare enough.
And you know that deep down, mate, I think that you're rosy and shiny and wonderful, and everyone should celebrate.
It would be very kind if people could deign to do that.
Yeah.
Plus, like, then they'd own poetry, or they could buy it for somebody else. And if you're stuck, like,
here's
what
a good
can I
pitch,
get?
mate.
What do you get for people?
Here's a good pitch.
Right, you pitch away.
I'm going to pitch away, mate.
You should
Listen to
pitch
this.
away.
People are going to love this.
Okay.
In the day and age of the dating app,
Yes.
right?
Right.
I
like it already.
Hang on a second.
I like it already.
In the day and age of the speed date or the dating app or the quick one-liner or the raucous, naughty and obnoxious dick pic or whatever it is. In this
the swipe right culture.
the hideous melange of negativity and ego that plagues the dating app. Do you know what people don't do in the way that they used to?
What's that?
They don't lure unsuspecting women back to their apartment, put on a smoking jacket, and talk about how much poetry they own while puffing on a pipe.
No, that is true. How are you going to impress a lady?
How many people have smoking jackets, pipes, and books of poetry? Not enough in my life. Not enough.
Not enough.
So I would suggest this. I
do like this
If
idea.
you're a man,
Just for your coffee table. Leave it around at your coffee table.
if you're a man of a certain age and a certain persuasion, let's say you own a leather chair. Let's say that you feel.
I wish I owned a leather
know,
chair.
me
Do you
too.
own a leather chair?
I don't know. But let's assume that you feel that the leather chair somehow makes you feel more impressive or more gallant, let's say, an old school gentleman waiting for that.
Like Sherlock Holmes.
Right, waiting for that woman.
Was that too early
Yeah,
for a
don't
link?
bury the lead.
Sorry, mate.
Waiting for. Oh wow! Amazing.
Oh, thank you very much.
Look at that. You've got something that looks something like an alien egg out of a 1950s sci-fi movie.
I've never even eaten anything like this in my life.
It kind of looks like a haggis with a skin disease.
It does. It's amazing.
And I don't know what that is, but it's not.
Well, they just put a pie crust on top of some the ingredients. Look at this. Fucking hell.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about how quickly that all came out. That is literally just a big wedge of meatloaf. That is
What have I ordered?
I've got to take a picture. I'm sorry, the show is stopping for a minute because I have to take a picture. All right.
Not bad, but now I'm glad they bought this.
So seamlessly, I've started the recording again. All I was saying was,
Right.
before you cut open your haggis with a skin
Ball of
disease from a
meat.
1950s sci-fi movie, and I got kind of disturbed by how quickly my pie came out. And how it doesn't exactly seem to be like. Oh no, it is hot.
My girlfriend. They probably scoop it out of a thing
Right.
and then fling a pie crust.
But if you're a guy of a certain age and you own a leather chair,
Right.
and you're gallant, and you feel like you are the last of the lost gentlemen,
Right.
and you're looking for your ingenue or
Yeah.
your lady in waiting or whatever you want, and you want to impress her with a mighty book of poetry,
Right.
you could do a little worse than purchase J.E.A. Wallace's Are You Hurtling Towards God Knows
The
What?
point is, stick it on your coffee table,
Yeah,
and it can live there for months.
yeah,
Pick it up every now and then,
yeah.
have a read of a little poem.
Get flicks of...
They're not like silly poems. They're
No.
not, trees. That tree over there reminds me of my mother.
Right.
None of
Although
that.
that's not a bad line, mate.
No, it's not. I mean,
Pop it in a poem.
I'll put it in the
sequel.
old notebook.
Yeah.
Most of them are nice little stories. Well worth. Your time and attention.
I've even got a better idea.
Oh no, here we go.
Purchase the book,
Yes.
then start a podcast
Right.
where you wildly hypothesize about what you were thinking when you wrote the poem.
No more than I deserve. And if someone was to do that to me
Yeah.
and conclude that I'm some kind of balmy idiot
Yeah.
who doesn't know what he's doing, as I have concluded
Right.
about many people who I have never met,
Right.
and whose reputations I have besmirched,
Yeah. Like the producers of Stranded,
with very little,
but a wild, wanton hypothesis.
just depending on my mood. Hence, the basic folly of film criticism.
Right. And talking about basic folly,
Here we go.
brings us very neatly to this
See,
week's-
I tried it
Yeah.
too early.
Too early.
Timing all wrong. But you waited
I did.
until the perfect moment.
Well, you know why?
Flip it.
That's another reason why I deserve
You're the host.
more of the money than you get.
Well, that's true. And you do get more of the money.
I do,
In sense, you get all of it.
which I feel kind of bad about. I could give you the $20 I make off Patreon every
Yeah,
month.
but whatever you make off the Patreon, that goes towards the actual upkeep of the website, which does cost money. And also your time. Like, your
Yeah.
time is worth... that's something Farley's always pointing out.
Yeah,
Your time when you make stuff, that's worth something.
time is money, mate.
It's not just... it's not just for the love of it.
That is ridiculous,
That's
mate.
fucking absurd. But with the coleslaw, it's not half bad.
It could do with a sauce though, like a hollandaise or something.
I don't feel like this is a place that wants to put fancy sauces on things. Listen, they give me free vegetables. I'm happy.
I don't know that a pickle is a vegetable. I mean, technically it is.
Well,
But,
coleslaw, isn't it? Cabbage and whatnot.
cabbage and whatnot's a better name for coleslaw. Anyway, Basic Folly leads us to talk about this
Sorry,
week's film,
I've thrown off your seamless linking.
which is Holmes and Watson.
Holmes and Watson.
So let's precursor this
Yes, okay.
with Holmes and Watson came out on Christmas Day,
Right.
and shortly thereafter, I think because 2018 needed one final bout of throwing one's toys out of the pram.
you doing? Good?
Very good, man.
Thank you very much.
Is that a comment against the podcast? Is he like listening to the show and then he was like, I'm gonna drape napkins over the microphone of the phone?
He's speaking on behalf of the diner listeners.
Yeah.
You know.
So the waiter just came
Everyone
over
Stop this.
to give us more napkins. Not something we requested, but I'm very happy to have them because I do like napkins. But he draped them over the microphone.
Right
of
over the
phone.
microphone.
Right over the mic. Anyway, so as if 2018 had just a few last toys to throw out of the pram, and Twitter wanted to have just one last shit fit before the year breathed its last.
Right.
Everyone out of nowhere decided that this was the worst movie that they'd ever seen. It got like 0% on Rotten Tomatoes the first day it was out. It's subsequently gone up to like 3 or something. And it had people were claiming they were walking out, and then a report came out that it was like, it's not even good enough for Netflix, and Netflix is shit. And I'm like, wait a minute, now we're shitting on Netflix? Like, it was totally bizarre. Like, everyone just had
That's
an
kind of
absolute
fun. Yeah, that's
brain
kind of weird.
meltdown. Also, Netflix just greenlit, made, and are releasing a movie with Chevy Chase and Richard Dreyfuss as aged agent and stand-up comedian on a comeback tour, where the biggest joke is Chevy Chase tries to score weed off a bunch of kids in a parking lot.
It does sound pretty bad.
So Netflix put that on, but according to reports this week, they wouldn't accept Holmes and Watson, which is ridiculous. So anyway, basically, all this stuff came out that it had horrible, horrible preview screenings. Sony had no faith in it. They tried to sell it to Netflix. That didn't work. And when the movie came out, it got the worst reviews of any movie of the year, and walkouts from the cinema, and Twitter went crazy, and blah, 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 blah. So,
It seems really odd to try and sell it to Netflix, and if you can't sell it to Netflix, then you give it a cinema release.
yeah. Well, because they have to make their money back somehow.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I guess this wasn't really any other
Net-
way, right?
Net-
So you
Netflix
can't like get it
would've-
off like DVDs anymore.
Netflix would have allowed them to not have to market it, you see.
Right, that makes sense, I guess.
Where is that music coming from now?
That is from a speaker.
Okay. So, with that,
Right.
not particularly auspicious review, and with that, and a not particularly auspicious beginning to the Holmes and Watson saga.
Right.
But with us feeling a little bit devil may care,
Yeah, and there not being a ton of choice if you don't want to watch Aquaman or is that what it's called? Aquaman?
Aquaman, yeah.
Aquaman. And we've seen Mary Poppins, and that's kind of it, isn't it?
Well, there was safe rooms or whatever it's called.
Which I am kind of interested in, but I just thought with the escape room thing, which maybe we'll end up going to see at some point, but I just feel it'll be quite fun for the first hour, and then it'll get quite tiresome, and then the ending will just be like annoying and vague.
Right.
Well, Holmes and Watson, out of nowhere, because I was really keen.
Well, we've done it before. We did it with the Happy Time Murders. We assumed the Happy Time Murders
Which did
was going to be
persuade me, yeah.
awful, and we thought we'd go see it just to see how it played out. And to be honest, when people call something the worst movie of 2018, especially the wet blankets and hysterical children that pass for humanity that lurks on the internet these days, my instant reaction was like, what are you talking about? I have seen some absolute howlers.
Right.
And this, even if all it was the two of them reading the phone book in funny accents, Reilly and Ferrell are always worth the price of admission, which we didn't pay because we're AMC A-list members.
Right.
So we thought, let's go along. We're both in the mood for some silliness. We could both do with a chocolate or two.
Right.
And how bad can it be? And all of these people must be hysterical because it can't be that bad.
That was our hope, while at the same time, a sinking feeling
Right.
gnawed inside us,
Yeah.
which is, there's nothing worse
Yeah.
than an unfunny comedy,
Yeah.
because that can be some of the most painful thing ever. With people trying to make you laugh for 2 hours and horribly failing to do so.
A bit like this podcast.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But then people can turn it off because it's free.
Right. But it shouldn't be. They should support it on Patreon.
They should.
Or
And buy my
an album,
poetry.
buy your book. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going to leave it up to you. I want to leave the suspense dangling just a little more about what I thought. What did you think?
So, one of the things that turned me around there. Now, I need to be careful here. But I happen to know that when Without a Clue came out,
Yeah.
I read the same reviews that I read for this, which is, of course the leads are very charismatic, but they're let down by the material.
Right.
It's very unfunny and it's silly and such charisma and charm wasted on blah. You know, the usual kind of like lazy.
Right.
And that's how I read about that Clue.
Whereas
And then,
Without a Clue is hands down one of the best.
absolutely. So my point is that having read it honestly threw me back to that same thing. I'm like, well, of course they're very talented, but the material is very tired and silly. I thought, that's what they said about Without a Clue. And I loved Without a Clue.
Right.
Now, this is no Without a Clue.
It really isn't. And we're not trying to say
And it is
that
not, it is by no means good. What it is, however, is consistently silly.
Yeah.
And even when it's not funny, it's still kind of guileless enough
Right.
that it doesn't matter because you know that something's going to be coming along soon that will make you laugh.
Right.
And all the way through, I was like, I didn't have to wait too long for something to really make me laugh.
Well, so
It was more just like a series of like, they threw all these ideas at the screen, but some of them really, really didn't work.
right. So the biggest problem is this:
Right, go on.
when it tries to have either a running gag and or a set piece,
Yeah.
it doesn't land.
No.
But all the other bits,
Yeah.
and I would argue also the main through line of like Watson wanting to be Holmes' equal and Holmes like completely ignoring it.
Which is not only compelling, but the way it's wrapped. Because how's he going to explain it away at the end? Like, how's Holmes going to explain away his behaviour? And the fact they use the emotional thing to explain away his behaviour, they don't try and be like clever about it
No.
or pretend it didn't happen. Like everything that happened did happen.
So the funny thing is this: before we get into it, but this is the thing.
Yes.
Most of the set pieces
I'm going to have to stop eating the meat cannonball, by the way, because
That's
I feel
fine.
like it wants to kill me.
Most of the set pieces and the ideas in the film,
Yes.
most of which hinge around modern things interpreted in a Victorian London way. So the selfie or the late night text or whatever, although that was funny.
The text was really funny.
The late night text. But there's a lot of that, or the Make America
The International
Great.
House of Pancakes, the Make England Great Again, the weird Trump joke that went on. Like, it only needs to be a line, the Trump joke.
Right.
Like, fortunately, our democracy will mean that no, clueless idiot will ever rule us. Then just move on. But they kept, I don't think people know we're talking about Trump. We better, make 5 more
No, but it
jokes
wasn't
about
just that. There was a lot of things where the American woman in it was saying, America's really great, and then would undermine what she was saying based on, the truth.
Oh, yeah.
Which is sort of a funny idea, but not the way they did it.
The one good joke was the thing about, every man has a right to a trial by white property-owning men. Or whatever.
Right.
That was quite
But
good.
I didn't think she sold the joke.
No, she didn't. No.
So a lot of that fell flat, although the late night drunken text in this regard was a telegram was amazing. And I feel when they let them weirdly I felt like it wasn't very improvised. I felt like the few moments where it was improvised was the bits that I actually really liked.
Yeah.
There were also some really nice asides.
Yeah.
Like John C. Reilly as Watson being like, no, you're right. I don't deserve nice things.
I don't deserve nice things.
Nice things. It was really nice because it was like total pathos. And in fact, by the way, out of the whole cast, Reilly is by far the best singer.
Everything he did pretty much was amazing. And although Ferrell did some good things, he was I just felt like
it's not Ferrell's role. That's the problem.
he struggled a bit with the. He has to keep it straight,
Right.
and he's doing a very mannered accent, so
Right.
he can't cut loose in any way. Whereas Reilly's just naturally schlubby, so even if he's trying to be, kind of prim and proper, he's just being a schlubber.
In fact, I would say this. The more jokes they made about Sherlock Holmes and about the myth of Sherlock Holmes, the better the film was.
Yeah.
The more they tried to make the jokes relevant to modern day, the less interesting.
It was weird.
And what I mean by that is the joke about how ludicrous it would be that Holmes would poison Watson in order to try out a theory is it's also poking fun at the Downey Jr. Holmes, which
Yeah.
the big problem with Downey Jr. Holmes was that and I quite enjoy them, but they think they're a knockabout romp that aren't taking themselves too seriously. But you slyly think that behind closed doors they're taking themselves very seriously. And so the few times where they do an out-and-out parody of because in the beginning of the Downey Jr. one, doesn't he fire a trank dart into Jude Law or something, or into
can't remember.
Jude Law's dog or something. But there's all this thing about Holmes, he's so reckless he would even endanger everyone just for a test thing. So the parody of this, where he poisons Watson, was genuinely funny. It went on a bit long, like all the gags tended to do, and you would certainly cut some bits out of whatever. But the initial idea was really well done and super well done by
I
Ryan.
feel like they wasted the cast a little bit too. There was a thing about
I don't know, the idea of having Hugh Laurie as someone who only communicates by his big goggly eyes is kind of
great, but there wasn't enough goggly eyes, and I felt like they could have done more with, let him a little bit loose. They didn't do enough with Coogan. They didn't do enough with Brian. And the only bit that really worked with Kelly MacDonald was right at the end when she was threatening him in a thick, colourful Glaswegian way.
Yeah.
I know you're threatening me, but I don't understand a word you're saying.
Yeah.
It's, obvious but funny because the thing she was threatening him with, gosh, your fucking heed, was really, really good. And there should have been more of her being super Glaswegian.
Yeah, look, there are two things that, if I was going to do, before we went to the movie, you were talking about giving me a government position where I went in and told Hollywood, what they could and can't do, or what they should or shouldn't do.
Right. The Minister for doing things properly.
The Minister for doing things properly. No, do it properly. lot of people coughing and dying in this time.
Anyway, next time of year, mate.
The two things with this. Get rid of the contemporary soundtrack. It's balls. The movie is so much better when it's just got an orchestral soundtrack.
Although, the joke of them having an erotic moment, cleaning the cake off the dead body, was so weird.
But again...
But it didn't need the music.
Again, they cut it short. Did you notice?
Yeah.
There was a weird edit where they shortened the music, where the music was about to go into the chorus.
Yeah, you're
then
right.
didn't, and then it cut. And then we went back to Will Ferrell and the Cat Girl, which wasn't anywhere near as funny.
The only really funny bit of the cat was when she hands him the picture of a frowning cat,
A frowning cat.
drawn by a toddler.
Which was
that was
amazing.
really funny.
Yeah.
But the way he understood immediately what the message was.
I'm a sad cat.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was almost worth all the unfunny cat bits just for the joke of handing him when he, you know what I mean? That was almost
What was
worth
the
it.
thing that made us absolutely, both of us, howl with laughter?
When he goes into the assistant's room and the elephant man is there, it's the thing about the balloon. I can't remember what it was. Balloons are happy but they're not alive or something. It was so weirdly bleak.
Right.
But it was. So I got a feeling that I haven't had since. One time, me and John went and saw the Avengers at a midnight showing.
Yeah. Are you talking about the Sean Connery,
Connery
Ray
one.
Fiennes event?
And obviously, we were a little bit.
Right, stoned.
Right.
Yeah.
But all the way through the movie, we were dying with laughter. It was so silly, and it was just like this. It was really, really silly, and kind of up our street. And I felt like we improved the movie for the other people there because we were laughing so heartily. And I felt like we helped other people enjoy the movie because we were heartily guffawing right from the very beginning. Because even the little kid at the beginning, when he's like sucking a tear back up into his eye, I thought was really funny.
Yeah, I mean, there was some absolutely brilliant bit. I thought the musical sequence was great.
It was
In fact,
really
if anything, I would have gone way bigger with that.
Yeah,
I would have
yeah.
had chimney sweeps dancing and do the whole thing like I would have just blown it all out. I think weirdly enough, there were some moments where they maybe wanted to go into parody and they wanted to do something like bigger than they were doing. And I felt like some of it was sort of cut or told like, no, remove that. That's not... Like it almost... I think what's sad about it is I think that there are bits of it where it feels like the studio, thinking they had a massive dud on their hand, have tried to improve it and they've actually made it work.
Yeah, I'm
Like the cadaver sequence, I bet went further and maybe went into like some really weird territory. And they were like, no, cut it here and move on, like nobody cares. And I feel like, unlike something like an Anchorman, or an Anchorman 2 is a better example, where because Anchorman was eventually a proven entity, but at a certain point it became like this cult hit. It wasn't when it came out, but it became like a group. By the time Anchorman 2 came out, they could kind of do anything they wanted. And actually, it didn't really work for Anchorman because the whole point about Anchorman is that it kind of needs to be more. It needs to be more small. It needs to be more character-based and less ridiculous. But by the end of Anchorman 2, they have ghosts show up and a werewolf and whatever, and they kind of go crazy with it. The funny thing with this movie is that it feels like someone came in and took the crazy out of it and thought, oh, no, what the jokes are like the Trump jokes and the stuff. And I'm like, no, you should have got rid of all of those and made it more Python-esque. Because I bet it had moments where it was like more Python-esque and weird and just whatever. Because there was enough weirdness in it. But there was a few of the scenes, like I think even the like late night sex text and stuff sequence was like edited down. There were some weird edits in that where you were like, wait, that's not how they ended the scene.
Yeah.
That's then ended in the edit suite. So I feel like, again, and I'm not trying to say that this was a work of unrivaled comic genius and someone ruined.
No, I agree. Its rhythms were off,
but it's rhythm.
And there were too many bits of like nothing's happening here. Like we're just kind of. I'm sorry, every time I think about it, I'm thinking of like the fact that the guy accused of being Moriarty was an onanist.
Right.
You know, even the joke about them, because it's a really obvious joke, trying to point out that he's an onanist and all the synonyms for, you know.
No, the best one was like, he likes to cook with his own sauce. And then John C. Reilly went, he's a saucier. Like, that was amazing. That was like the first bit where we really laughed.
Yeah.
And look, I didn't even mind the fact that there were a couple of sequences in it which reminded me of Bottom. Like, I almost actually liked that.
Yeah, that was really good. That was really good.
There was like some really good Bottom bits. And that's what I mean. Like,
putting the helmet over his head when you got the beating, it's not working.
Not working, it's not working. And I think it was either edited or post-edited in a way that didn't quite understand what they had.
No, that's true.
And
You're right. It felt like they were trying to rescue a bomb.
Right.
And they ruined it.
And I feel like all those modern day things referenced in a Victorian way, like trying to do a selfie with a stand camera.
But that was so intricate to the, because I'm inclined to agree with you, but that was so intricate to the plot. It almost feels like things like the selfie stick.
No, I would have removed it at script level. You couldn't have removed it from the film, but
even what I'm saying is like the selfie stick thing feels to me like, we like the bit with the selfie stick because everyone knows what selfie sticks are, right?
Yeah.
Because on the other hand, if you said, hey, we've done a parody of that Robert Downey Jr. movie from 10 years ago, really?
Yeah.
That's how many Sherlock Holmes films have they made since that? Do you know what I mean? Like, it felt like it was a weird. I mean, don't get me wrong, it worked.
Well,
but it feels like it's the time for parodying that.
But there was
movie
there was also that moment where he threw the pipe at the bearded guy, hoping that it would like distract him, and it didn't. But like the timing of that needed to be much better.
Yeah.
Like the joke
true.
was there. So the joke is he's in a boxing ring. The guy they're fighting is enormous. He does the Robert Downey Jr. Holmes thing of like...
The pay-per-view joke was like, why is that in there? That's not funny.
Again, the pay-per-view joke. It's not
it doesn't do anything. It's not funny.
Right.
Because they're going, oh, pay-per-view. You know what? There's those jokes where it's like, from some parody films, where they go, this is a thing you recognise.
Right.
And that's all it. That's all there is.
Right.
You know what pay-per-view is. You know who Trump is. Make America Great hat, whatever. So just recognising it, you laugh at it. It's like those movies they made like 10 years ago where you just have like it's like Family Guy, where Family Guy is like, oh, it's like when Spider-Man, can't climb up a building, and then you can't do Spider-Man go, God, I can't climb up the building. Going, I know who Spider-Man is. That's funny.
Well, that's also Big Bang humour.
Yeah, that kind of right, exactly, yeah.
But I think that's definitely what lets it down. But like, for example, had the boxing match started and the girl had walked around with the number, and John C. Reilly had gone, I don't know why she's there, but I'm feeling really pumped up. Like, that would have been amazing. You don't need it to be a pay-per-view joke for that to be a funny line.
Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean?
Like, no, I do. You're right. It's all.
You also don't need to let's get ready to rumble dude,
that
whatever that
weird.
guy is.
Well, that felt like a cut thing.
No, but you don't need him in it to make the fact that they're doing like modern boxing references or wrestling references as a joke. Like, it was those bits that like over-egged what was already just look. It's a wacky comedy, right? But what was not like drilled down underneath the wacky comedy was that the movie had an interesting thing to say, which was this: if someone was all mind and all fact and all all evidence based and whatever it was.
Right.
It wouldn't give you the necessary abilities to
understand people's motivations.
Either understand motivations, but also it was criticizing the Holmes mythology that simply being mentally capable and putting everything out of your mind would help you solve crimes easily, which isn't necessarily the case. And it was doing that in a really nice way, and it had this like fun through line where like as a kid he was bullied, so he had to learn to suck it up. He literally like sucks up the tear. Then he meets Watson. Then they have like their knockabout fun. Watson would like desperately like not necessarily to be Holmes, but like just to be considered by him a little more than he's being considered.
Yeah, to be valued.
And to be valued by him. And in order to solve the case, And in order to be valued, in order to solve the case and in order to value Watson, Holmes had to get some emotion back. And by doing so, there's a nice wrap-up. Like, I'm not saying, again, that it's the deepest thing, any more than I'm saying that there's
No, but there's a point.
But there's a thought there.
Yeah.
Right? All the other things where it's like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if they did a selfie stick in Victorian London? Or wouldn't it be funny if we did, like, they invent pay-per-view even though pay-per-view is not a thing? It's like, no, none of that's fun. Like, get rid of all of that.
Yeah.
But what's funny is every time they dug into the Holmes, not so much, and again, not so much the actual Holmes stories, but the way Holmes has been portrayed by, like, Cumberbatch and Downey Jr. Both of whom massively misunderstand Sherlock Holmes, by the way. Cumberbatch's portrayal of Sherlock Holmes is fucking abysmal. It just fucking is. It's I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole, but it's absolutely abysmal and nothing like the books, and Mark Gatiss should be fucking ashamed of himself.
Well, he should, because he's a terrible writer.
And who was the other guy on it?
Moffat.
He should be fucking ashamed of himself as well. But the same with the Downey Jr. Holmes. Downey Jr. Holmes is Columbo. He's an idiot all the way through, and then at the end he's like, haha, you thought I was an idiot, but here's all the things I was working out when you didn't know I was working. And you're like, that's not... You can't write a Holmes mystery like that either, you know what I mean? So there's lots to, like, poke fun at there and, like, attack there about the portrayal of a really well-written character that has endured and the modern portrayals of it. And this could have been that, like, with one, like... With me, Minister of Doing It Properly, this could have had a rewrite and been really, really good. As it is, there's... I think we got, like, 10... I would say about 8 decent laughs and 2, like, really big laughs out of the film.
I'd say that's probably fair.
But at no point was I shifting in my seat. I was enjoying
I was happily waiting for the next funny thing to happen. And even now, when it's over, I'm thinking back to things that happened in the movie, and they're making me laugh again.
But having Hugh Laurie as Mycroft Holmes, and then having a sequence where Mycroft and Holmes are so achingly intelligent that they can talk without talking, and just using Hugh Laurie's, like, goggly face. Again, just that was amazing. And then to follow that up with Watson being put in the assistant's room and the assistant room being filled.
Like, I didn't get to see everyone in the assistant room. It was like a small child and a monkey.
There was a guy with a monkey. There was a guy with a really tall hat. And then there was the elephant man who just went, the balloon is happy, but it's not alive. But the way he said it was amazing. And then Watson went, oh, and, like, ran to the door and tried to open the door. That is the whole movie should have been that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It was very, like, in parts it was very the bits of Naked Gun, you know, that you enjoyed the most. You know, like the slightly surreal, you know, like that kind of thing, where, like, anything is possible.
Well, I think they had to also figure out, like, was it a parody or was it a Holmes and Watson comedy? And I think the parody would only have successfully worked if it had continued to kind of comment more on, like what I was saying, the modern portrayals of Holmes and how, like, wrong they get it and how arrogant they make him and how idiotic the way they do things is.
The cocaine and heroin jokes were consistently funny.
They were.
As well.
They were. Oh, you're a doctor too. Would you like some heroin?
He's a doctor. Oh, lucky you were. My friend is a doctor too. Yes. Would you like some heroin?
But, like, that was my thing.
I could really use some cocaine. It was just...
The best one was him when he threw the medicine ball at Watson. The noise Ferrell made was amazing. That was amazing. This was far from the worst film of 2000.
God, no. It was one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. Like, just because I don't normally go and see a lot of comedies at the movies. There aren't that many. And, like, they had trailers for comedies before.
Oh,
they were
God,
so
they were
weak. Just not funny.
But I'll say this.
For me.
I'll say this as a caveat. I don't think if I watched this 2 years from now on TV, either by myself or with Kim, that I would laugh as hard. I think it had a lot to do with us going in with low expectations, and you and me kind of being on that. You know, we grew up with like The Young Ones and Bottom, and a lot of that.
That's
like,
true. It
silly
did feel like it
comedy.
was very for us. It felt like a lot of those comedies that were dismissed when we were growing up.
Right.
Like the silly kind of Saturday Night Live-y comedies. Like Scrooge was dismissed.
Right.
And Without a Clue was dismissed. All these like silly, fun comedies that were like no good.
The
and yet
Burbs
we
was
loved
dismissed.
them. Yeah, the Burbs. All that. But just, do you know what I mean? Like, they were
And I'm
just
not
all
saying, by
dismissed.
the way, this is anywhere as good as any of those.
No, but it was just still that feeling of there's a lot of value in being made to laugh at just like silly stuff.
Yeah.
And there's not enough of that around.
And look,
Certainly not in the movie.
First of all, I will take this over any Seth Rogen, James Franco comedy ever.
Yeah.
Any of them. When they did that movie that came out around Christmas time, The Interview or whatever it was called, that like almost another fucking Twitter goes wild over absolutely nothing, but it was meant to be like career is going to kill us over this movie, which was again horseshitty of the high order and stank to high heaven of like marketing sort of bet hedging. They were like, oh, what if we like manufacture this rumor and put this out that this is going to happen and blah 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 blah, maybe people go see our bullshit movie. And who knows? Maybe all the walkouts and everything is a way to get people like us to go see it. I don't know.
I do feel like we're living in a world where like there's some very sophisticated, dark, marketing magic going on.
Right. But either way, I would take this over The Interview 100 million times.
But I agree, and that part of it I think is right, is watching it in the cinema, and like it was a nice cinema, so it didn't feel. It felt like because it was so small.
Yeah.
But like with the reclining seats, it was really comfy, and the screen was big.
Yeah.
It was like almost the perfect cinema because
Yeah.
it was only room in it for about 50 people,
Right.
probably less actually. But the screen was really big.
Right.
But it was just so it was full enough that we could enjoy it. Not
Right.
if we were in like a big cavernous, half-empty cinema. I don't know. I'd have felt more awkward laughing.
Right.
I didn't feel self-conscious laughing. And I don't know, the seats were comfortable, the cinema was nice. We weren't going anywhere. We were going to watch the whole film, like, regardless. I didn't even walk out of Baby Driver. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to walk out of the movie.
Right. The legendary Baby Driver that was so bad we haven't even released the
Christ, that film was shit. But like, if it's been watched on Netflix, I might have lost patience with it.
Right.
You know, like 10, 15 minutes in, I might have gone, oh, it started off okay, but now there was a little bit.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about Without a Clue and The Burbs and stuff like that.
Right.
But do you have a slightly strange fascination and happy to watch films that, and I don't mean like watching them because it's so bad it's good, and I'm not talking about like watching them ironically, but there's some films that are made that I know are bad, they're not particularly funny or whatever, but I kind of want to watch them because they're just like big bright colors, and there's one or two people in them that I'm sort of into, and even though I know it's not that good, I'll kind of put it on because it's there. I don't know, like, do you do that a lot? I can't think of an example. I wish I could think of an example.
No, I know what you mean.
Like an Adam Sandler movie. I know that they're abjectly awful, but sometimes I just want to put them on and...
No, I don't get that. If I have that, I have that with...
and not his later stuff, but like some of the...
If I have that, I have that with sci-fi films sometimes. Like, even if I know they're going to be rubbish.
Right.
And cheap and terrible.
Yeah.
If they're in space or if there's some kind of a driving plot, I will watch it, even though I know it's going to be bad. I will get to the end. Like I did watch. What the hell was it?
Maybe Adam Sandler's the wrong.
I know what you mean, but I know this isn't it for me. I don't watch all that many comedies. Just knockabout silly comedies anymore. They're either like whatever modern comedies are, which are. You know, even if they're really, really good, like The Good Place or Superstore or whatever, they're, smart and sharp.
I did not like The Good Place.
I
Did
love
not
The
get
Good
into
Place.
that.
It's fine that you didn't, I fucking love The Good Place.
And what's the other one you watched?
Superstore.
The Mark McKinney one?
Yeah, it's really good.
I watched the first 4 or 5 episodes just for him.
I love
and I just
Superstore.
Really?
I really, really like it.
Okay.
A lot. But, they're smart and whatever, and like quippy and... it's a different thing. It's not like it's not you're like you're saying like bottom of the young ones. It's like hitting someone around the side of the head with a cricket bat. It's just inherently amusing, which it is.
Right.
Try to knock a mosquito off somebody's face by punching him really hard is unbelievably silly, but really, really funny.
Right.
You want that to go?
No,
No, thanks, but you can take it. Thanks. Yeah, it was good. Too much. Thanks, man. I think they want us to go, by the way. There's nobody else here.
Dude, it's a 24-hour diner.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, fine. Oh, well then, great, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of an example, but like...
I sort of know what you mean. When you know you're going to be watching something that's moronic and dumb,
Right.
what the hell?
Yeah. I mean... And, you know, that really bothers me, the whole, like, this was so bad that not even Netflix took it. As if... Which is such a weird headline, and I saw it on multiple websites. And it's a weird headline because every other headline on the internet for the last 5 years has been, how hard can I fillet Netflix? You know what I mean? Like whatever that stand-up special is where she just stops being funny in the middle of it, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's amazing! How much can I, you know...
Yeah. I don't get that either. Thank you.
Coffee?
No, I'm all right, thanks, mate.
Sure.
Yeah, we get the check, right?
Sure, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, or whatever it is, or like How to Make a Murderer, or whatever it is. These things that Netflix do, that that people just line up to like ejaculate all over. But then the next headline is like, so bad, not even Netflix wants it, as if Netflix is some haven of awful movies. Now, Netflix is a haven of awful movies, but they're awful movies that most people give the time
Yeah,
to.
like Bright. Like, that's garbage.
Bright was garbage. All the Adam Sandler ones that have been on there are garbage. Yet people thought the Myerskowitz stories or whatever it was like a work of genius, and it wasn't. There was the one with fucking Ed Harris and Jason Sudeikis going
I didn't watch
across
that
Kodachrome
one,
or whatever was awful, right? But it's almost like it was just so weird. Because
Yeah, they had one with Kelsey Grammer and Kristen Bell in it.
yeah, that was awful
That
too.
was,
But I
after
watched
20
it.
minutes ago, this is so bad.
I watched it though. I watched it all the way through.
But it was so bad.
I know.
I couldn't make it past 50 minutes. It
No, I
was
know.
so
But I watched it all the way through.
transparently terrible.
It was transparently terrible. I really liked I Don't Feel Good in the World
Home in This
Anymore.
World
Home in
Anymore.
This World Anymore. I liked that
I couldn't
one.
get into that, but
I really liked it.
it just wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't think it wasn't good.
But I like him now, after
After
Grand
Trust.
Piano and Trust.
Yeah. And he was the only good thing about Dirk Gently's Assistant Detective Agency, which was garbage.
Yeah,
It was a BBC America show.
I saw that, yeah.
Oh, it's garbage.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know that people should rush out and see this, but I think that
But I had a really good time.
I had a really good time
We went to the
watching it.
cinema. We sat in a really nice seat, a nice big screen, and I
don't
laughed
care
my
about that.
arse
It
off
was-
for 2 hours. No, well,
it was
it just
just-
made it like a really
we-
nice experience.
We laughed, and not like involuntary, like multiple times.
No, and we were enjoying each other laughing as well. There was a thing
And
where
Reilly, like Reilly
he
going,
was so
Reilly was amazing. It's actually
If
like,
I had to watch it for anything, it would be Reilly, 'cause
Reilly.
he's consistently good all the way through.
all the way through, and his little asides of like, no, you're right, I shouldn't have
I
nice
shouldn't
things.
have nice things.
Was and he didn't say it in like he said it in such a good way.
Yeah, he wasn't joking, or it wasn't to the
And
camera,
the musical
or to
number
anybody
was
else.
so good. And the little bits like, oh, that was the other big laugh, was when they were testing out the hangman, the hangman's noose, and they had the dummy and the hangman's noose, and the dummy dropped down underneath the what are they called again? The hangman's
The
noose?
trap door, I guess.
It fall through the trapdoor, but what's the
I don't know.
gibbet?
Yeah.
And trapdoor through the gibbet, and then like two Alsatians start like ripping it apart, and it just cuts back to John C. Reilly in prison. He goes, "The dogs are a bit much. Like, they don't seem necessary." And the way he did it was just really charming. And so I'm sorry, I can't condemn this film because there was
No,
enough.
it was funny.
There was enough John C. Reilly where you were just like,
And there were bits of Will Ferrell being the him puking bit, which again, I don't think anybody could do that except him and make that as funny as it was all the
Right.
way through. Like, because it was when he threw up.
Right.
You know what I mean? It wasn't just the sounds he was making, but like at the point in the sentence where he did it every time he got to the sentence where you think, oh, he's gone past the point where he's going to throw up.
Yeah.
But we haven't got to the next bit where he will, and still he found a way to do it.
Yeah.
Take you by surprise every time.
You have it under good foot. It was so good the way he did that. Trust me,
even like the
Watson,
bit
you
where
have it on
Ronnie
good
keeps- The
authority.
running gag of him taking Queen Victoria's hand,
Yeah.
which wasn't like a hilarious joke or anything, but he just kept taking her and bothering everybody. Do you know what I mean? It was really, really good.
There was some really nice bits. And I think therefore it's the only feeling I have about it is I don't have like massive negativity. I just feel like it's a shame that
It's a shame they cut it up because they clearly made it worse.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they cut it up trying to save it. I think that they probably threw a couple more cameos in there that didn't need to be in there. And I would have got rid of half the modern references. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, they clearly threw some cameos in, up the modern references.
What did he say about the when he was like, take a picture of that and send it to her?
Make sure you get the
What did he say?
sausage and the peppers, or the sausage and the beans? The bangers and the beans.
Yeah. Make sure you get the bangers and the beans. Like that was so well done. And it's a knob gag. It shouldn't work. It's
What are you
very
wearing?
obvious.
Bloomers?
Yeah. what do you ask her? Will she drip wax all over herself? Also, that was a really good joke at the end where he kept trying to do like the super Holmes thing of like figuring it out and kept like thinking about.
Oh no, you forgot about the bomb.
He was like, we could always, I could always do that, jump there, touch that, turn the water on, the water could subdue the bomb, over by the fountain with Millie, dancing in the park. Oh no, I've forgotten about the bomb again. So good. I really like that.
Even like the
and then Watson coming into view was so good.
There was enough. There was more
There
than
was,
enough.
there
in
was
there.
more than enough in there for me
And
to
it did
have
do
a-
that thing in comedies do sometimes where it's funny for the first half hour and then it stops being funny for
Right, because they run out.
Because they've just got to get
And
with
also,
the story.
it didn't do the thing where, like, don't get me wrong, in Anchorman and Talladega Nights and even Step Brothers, there's some absolute genius improvisation. But there's also a bunch in it where you're just like, all right, cut this gag. Like,
Yeah.
they all have that in there. And in fact, I'll give you this as well. This wasn't a bloated 2.5 hour
No.
improv fest like some Judd Apatow horseshit. It was 90 minutes. It was a rompy comedy that had like some misguided jokes in it, but as many hit as didn't hit.
Yeah, in fact, it was a lot less. I remember in the trailer thinking like the selfie stick stuff was going to alienate the film from it. It was going to be alienated from how desperate it was to be relevant. But those bits were just like, no, that it felt. It was like watching Saturday Night Live or something. Like, okay, this doesn't work, so let's move on.
Right.
But it's not hanging around for long enough for you to
But
really
then
be
it had a
bothered by
really
it.
funny sequence after it that wasn't in the thing about
Right.
them trying to like stuff Queen Victoria into a trunk.
So funny. And you're right, it was very bottom.
It was like there's
the
no-
whole sequence
Yeah.
was just bottom.
There's nothing else we can do. Get your tools.
Running in. They're standing over with a bone saw.
Yeah.
Remember toilet
Get your
sized
phone
chunks.
saw. Remember Watson, toilet-sized chunks. That was really good.
Punching Queen Victoria just to try and make her
that's
fit
a
in the
good
chest.
example. Like, and I know it's difficult, but like Guest House Paradiso, everyone hates that film. They don't think it's as good as Bottom of the Series, and it isn't. But there's some stuff in Guest House Paradiso that makes me cry with laughter.
The first,
The Phoebe to boiled eggs is just Phoebe.
the
Forget
opening,
about the Phoebe.
the
it's
opening
just
5
amazing.
minutes of Eddie waking up on a speeding motorcycle is still some of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. Such a
I
good
mean,
joke.
yes, it loses its way, and no, the big joke at the end shouldn't be Raiders of the Lost Vomit Bowl, but like, there's enough in it where you're just like, oh god, I miss Rick Mail and Ed Emerson. And I wouldn't mind although they're not going to get the chance to do it now, but I wouldn't mind Ferrell and Reilly doing a bunch of like bottom-esque things of hitting each
Yeah,
other,
it's a shame.
trying to like bury Queen Victoria.
It's been a while since he had a hit now, Will Ferrell, right? Or did Daddy's Home or whatever do? Okay.
Yeah, sadly, I think they were both hits. I cannot do maths tonight.
What's the total?
Well, that would be 33.64. Oh, I did it now that you're...
There you go.
And then I've done that, and it's not even their copy. Fuck.
Sorry, mate. Tough times.
Tough times call for tough people, and we are two of them.
Unfortunately, they were not available.
So you've got us. Well, that was fun. You don't have to go see it, but it certainly wasn't the worst movie of 2018.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And yet again, as with Hunter Killer, we come away...
Yeah.
Hunter Killer, which, by the way, made my top 10 films of 2018.
Would this make, if this had come, didn't this come out technically?
Yeah, it did, Christmas Day.
Would it have made the top 10? Would it have pushed another one out?
No.
Okay.
No, it would normally be a 2.5 movie, 2.5 stars out of 5 movie. I would give it 3.5 because of
Reilly.
some of the... Yeah, because of Reilly. Reilly was sublime.
Yeah.
And his constant... Like, Holmes's constant bullying of him for supposed reasons, even though there wasn't need to be, was hilarious. And Reilly did it so well. And because the central joke of his character is that he doggedly follows Holmes with the hope that one day he becomes a co-detective, but actually, like, he is in this so far, like, just Holmes's punching bag. So little sequences like where Holmes is like, well, you're going to play an urchin a horse shit seller or whatever. And starts tearing his clothes up and rubbing it with horseshit. At one point, Reilly is looking at it being like, well, first of all, he's like doing, I don't understand this at all. Then he's like being like, I'm actually rather unhappy with this. And then he turns around and immediately throws himself into it. He's like, shit for sale, who will buy my shit? Like,
Who will buy my horse shit?
Which was amazing. Like, and that, to have that little character arc within what is essentially just a dumb bit of them tearing his clothes and covering him with poo was really good, but you can only have that with Reilly. Like, no one else does that.
No, you're right, that's true. There's like little, everything that happened.
He went through all the emotions
Yeah.
to the point where he's like, well, I guess this is my character then.
Well, I really enjoyed it. I haven't sat in the cinema and laughed as much as that for I can't even remember the last time.
Right.
Because we don't normally go and see comedies in the cinema, and I forget how fun it is to feel as free as that. To like, we were properly cackling.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And guffawing out loud. I don't know if we were the only ones. I'm not really sure, but we were clearly really enjoying the movie all the way through. Like, we weren't like, like we were properly.
Yeah, and it's not a movie to be like arch about. There's
No.
nothing to be like arch about it. Because I don't know that even with some of the jokes, it wasn't trying to be like an intelligent comedy.
No.
It knew it was really stupid. Like every time the contemporary music came on, apart from that scene where it was actually a joke, but like when the contemporary music came on the soundtrack and all it was like, yeah, hip hop London, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, no, like that was abjectly bad. Like that smarts to me of a studio guy going like, well, we might as well at least get an album sale out of this. Let's like grab some hip hop and put it on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't work.
It needs to be fresh.
Right, unless it's meant to be. I don't remember. No, the Guy Ritchie Holmes doesn't have like drum and bass music in it. Right?
I don't think it was deliberate. I think it was just an attempt to make it seem like a modern, relevant comedy.
No, but there has been some like costume films that have had.
I feel like
modern sound.
I feel like King Arthur might have had a bit of.
And I feel like if they had done it as like a parody, if it had come on and then the characters are like commented on it or something. That would have been something, but it wasn't. And none
Part
of
of its problem, I wonder. If
none
it's
of
not
the soundtrack.
Sometimes
was
it was like
even
quite
remote.
generational. Like the joke about the Downey Jr. Holmes, fine, but the joke about the don't get me wrong, the cleaning the cake off the dead corpse was really funny, and it was mainly funny because without the Everly Brothers song reminding you of that bit in Ghost where they're being erotic with Clay, and instead of being erotic, like that's part of the joke.
Right.
It was all very Naked Gunny,
Right.
but it seems so going, are you really making a Ghost reference in 2018?
Right.
Because I don't know that like Ghost has stood the test of time
Right.
as well as you think it has. And there's a Billy Zane from Titanic joke. It's like, these are just, like, I get it,
Right.
but I'm 40. I don't
Yeah.
know if somebody who's
Well, no,
anybody
but
younger than me is going to
that's
give
why
a
there
shit
was-
about Ghost and Titanic.
But that's
jokes.
why there was selfie jokes in there for the kids.
Yeah, I guess so. But
For the
still, but
kids.
it felt like very specific to like it was my wheelhouse.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Of like extreme silliness and like naked. It was like a cross between Naked Gun, Bottom, and Without a Clue. It feels like, yeah. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm the audience for that movie, and congratulations,
Wasn't
you
it-
made me laugh.
Didn't he say at one point, he goes, right, let's roll up our sleeves and clean cake off this bitch? Wasn't that something
Yeah.
that was said? Which
Yeah.
I thought was amazing.
It was just so weird, erotically rubbing cake off the nipples of a dead man. But so weird.
I feel like they're the kind of things that it should have gone off into.
No, I agree. I'm just
those
saying
flights of fancy.
the audience for that,
No,
right, is
The audience,
so minuscule.
yeah, compared to the audience for selfie jokes.
Which I mean, I get it. Like, you have to, spoonful of sugar or whatever. But yeah, it's a shame. I do feel like it would have been better off if they'd left it alone. And I don't know.
Weirdly,
It's exactly the kind of thing.
Weirdly,
that
the
you and
best
I,
poems to have taken the piss out of would have been the Cumbersnatch one.
Oh god, yeah. But here's the thing.
Because
This
that's
is
still inexplicably popular.
This
and you
is
could
the
have
movie.
really done a great.
This is the movie that you and I, when we were, 10 or 11,
would have loved.
would have taken out Star Video or
Yeah.
whatever. We'd have gone, oh, it's a Holmes and what I like Sherlock Holmes. I like comedies with
Yeah.
these people that I've seen be funny before.
Yeah.
And we'd have watched it and we'd have loved it.
Yeah.
And we'd still be talking about it, 20 years later or whatever.
Yeah.
And they just made that film again.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it feels like to me. Like
Yeah.
it did feel that way.
Yeah,
So anyway, thanks for taking me, man.
I
really
enjoyed it.
And thanks for buying me dinner.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I don't know about the dinner, but I enjoyed the.
Well, the dinner was weird, but interesting.
That was the weirdest thing. Well, it was the weirdest thing you've ever ordered.
God, yes.
It was a very simple thing that I ordered, but it's the weirdest way I've ever had it presented.
Yes. Maybe I'll try that. Oh, God knows what happened if I'd ordered the chili cheese hot dog.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad you didn't.
Yeah, me too.
That guy over there's amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna take a look. We're done.
But what an interesting place. Sarge's on 3rd
We'll
Avenue.
give it a try. Maybe I'll try the chili cheese hot dog next time.
Give it-
when I'm buying.
When you're buying. But no, good times. Thank
Happy
you.
New Year, mate.
Happy New Year. Oh, and buy Jim's book.
Somebody's watching me. Now I'm nervous and I shouldn't be. Somebody's got their eye on me. Perhaps I should invite him up for tea.
We saw him smoking by the newspaper stand. There's something odd about his glove left hand. Saw him again inside the old cafe. He makes us tense, we wish he'd go away.
We are detected. We are select. We are detected. Come to collect. Somebody's after me. He left his footprints by the garden tree. Last night when I got